Hey, I'm Tim Mason. This is my wife Michelle and Jocelyn Mason. We're the Masons. Yeah.
Yay!
Yay! It was man, the turning point was just a year and a half ago on Christmas. I was down. I'd been drinking and down to my last beer, and it was couldn't go get any, couldn't buy any, and I just finally told myself no more. Was it something that turned me? I don't think it really was. I think it was more of God's spirit inside of me that just said it was enough. I've lived 38 years of my life, and I was still trying to live the life of a teenager and with a family, and just a lot of things, a lot of things just going through my mind, and why it just wasn't worth it. And I knew something had to change. It couldn't, I couldn't keep doing the things I was doing and support my family and living the life for me. I think what really turned me that day was just a lot of things going through my mind, and just thinking, it was my daughter Jocelyn. She was going to church, doing the right things, being the role model that I wasn't being. And I think it was just her bringing that spirit home with her, and it just, I think it truly let this, God's spirit loose in our house, and that's really what started working on me.
At the time when Tim was drinking, he would stay gone a lot. He would go camping with the guys, and he would be drunk all weekend. And then he'd come home, and he wouldn't really have anything to do with me or Jocelyn because he was drunk all weekend. So he was kind of, hungover. So we didn't really have a whole lot of family time. And then he was constantly thinking about, he went to a lot of NASCAR races, and of course, everything he did revolved around drinking. And I mean, there was a point where I was just so sick of it, and I prayed about it, and I had prayed for a year, and at the end of the year, I was just saying, God, I said, I prayed to you, I've asked you to, you promised me, I expect you to uphold that promise. I said, where are you? You haven't done anything. And at the end of the year, I told God, I said, I'm done. Do you hear me? I'm done. I said, I'm divorcing him because I have not seen any results. I prayed for a year, and I said, I'm just done with it.
I remember when, I would come home, and there would be days, especially when my dad was off, when I didn't know if it was going to be a good day or a bad day, because with my dad, if it was a bad day, you knew that there was going to be drinking, and if there was going to be drinking, that meant arguments, that meant not being able to understand my dad, why he felt that he needed to drink. And on good days, it was like I had my dad, I had my real dad, the dad that God blessed me with. But when it was those bad days, it was just confusing, because it was God, I don't understand, should I help my dad? I don't know, should I say something? Because if I say something, I feel like it's just going to offend him. So it was just one of those things where it was just a lot of confusion in my house. And it was in that moment when I didn't know whether to say something or whether to not. So it was I was just stuck. And then I didn't know what to think.
I knew things had to change. I started doing things a little different. I got invited to a Christian retreat, to walk to Emmaus. Such a life-changing experience. It's just hard to explain the amazing love of God, and just to look at where I'd been, and the love he showed me by forgiving me forgiven me for everything that I'd done. And just a life-changing experience, and just to experience God's love in a way that I had no idea. It made me, as I come away with that, it made me love more. I knew then it wasn't about me. It was about pleasing God and doing the right thing by Him, and also loving my family, and the amount of love that I had for my family when I came back, and just to be able just to apologize for everything that I had put them through, and then just to feel God's love in me, and just to know that He'd forgiven me for everything I'd done, and just to know that God is so much better. He's so much more than this world can ever give, and it's such satisfying that He is forgiving, and that He forgives me for everything I've done, and that it's still a struggle each and every day to live my life like I know I can live it, but to see His love work through me and for me is just simply amazing. Each and every day His love amazes me, that He works in our lives when I have no idea that He's there. Just the amount of love and just the compassion He has for me, it just makes my love and my compassion for my family so much more. Just simply amazing.
So when Tim came back from the retreat, he was different. Like, there was something about him that was changed, and I remember looking at him, and it's like he had this light about him. And then, his whole demeanor changed. Like, he was nice, and he was caring, and I will never forget, like, the next day at work, he showed up with flowers, and he took me to lunch, and I was just taken back. I was like, wow, because I never get flowers, ever. So it was just amazing. I was so excited, and I was so happy, and I was just thanking God, like, thank you for breaking this chain off of him.
After my dad came home after the retreat that he got off of, one of the first things that he did when he came home is that he called us all into the kitchen. He called me and my mom into the kitchen, and he was already crying, and before he was able to even say anything, he was crying, and so we had to wait for him to stop. And when he finally stopped and everything, he pretty much told us that he was sorry for all the times that he was never present as a husband, and especially for me as a father. And so just being able to hear that was a big turning point for me, because all those times when my dad was in sin, I would always be praying for my dad, but I would always ask God to help me to forgive my dad. And so when I finally just got to hear that from him, I didn't have to struggle with that anymore.
Yeah, so God changed my life. He's done a great work in my family. My love for my family has grown so much. Just the abundance of love that God shows me, I try to give that love back out to my family, and it's just amazing the work that He's done in our family. And I think God working in our family has been great, and also Harbor Worship Center has been an amazing work in my family as well, because without Harbor Worship Center, to be that place to come to serve God and to worship with what I think is family. I love each and every one of Harbor Worship Center. I love them like my family, and I think they're a big part of my family. that holds us together, brings us together in fellowship, and it's just amazing the work that God has done in our family, along with Harbor Worship Center, and it's just been a great experience.
Yeah, and Harbor Worship Center has helped us grow, and we are united in Christ, and our church is like our safe haven. You know, God has always been the only counselor that we seek. And by the way, we're not this spiritual. We are a bunch of goofballs half the time, and we don't ever make any sense, and we talk like idiots, and we're not the perfect family, so don't ever look at us like
assume we knew what we were going to
Yeah.
say. Instead, she was just going to be the only one
Hey,
talking.
I knew what I
the
was
one
gonna
who
say.
can't improv, so, you know.
I knew what I was going to
Yeah.
say.
To hear the sound of a